Hi guys, this is Vysh from Vysh, and we are going to continue our Satish Chandra series, which is about medieval India. So we have done first chapter in two parts already, which is done up till Humayun. So next it is Sher Shah. So again, Sher Shah is a potential mains question, not only for GS1 paper but also for history optional students. So you have to know certain things about him, which are like factual also, which can be part of our prelims, because he has done a lot of social economic reforms. So we'll see in the actual PDF. So Sher Shah and Sur Empire. So the timeline, if you see, 1540 to 55. This is the gap where Humayun was like roaming around in the western side of India, like the Sindh regions, and then he took shelter in the Safavid Empire, Iranian Empire, and then during that time Sher Shah set up this Sur Empire, for which he will be ruling for these not these like full 15 years, only I think about 5 years, and 1545 he will die. Because if you see the age at which he ascended the throne itself is 67. The first line, 67 age he came to power. Humayun was dethroned. Now again it's telling like his early life, and lot of details are not mentioned, because if you see it, like it's an old personality, and that is the time when he grew into power. Before that he was someone who was there in that region called Jaunpur. It's written here, Jaunpur, in the eastern India. So his original name is some Farid or something. And Farid acquired rich administrative experience by looking after the affairs of his father's Jagir. Following the defeat and death of Ibrahim Lodi and the confusion in Afghan affairs, he emerged as one of the most important Afghan Sardars. The title of Sher Khan was given to him by the pattern of killing a tiger, Sher. Soon, Sher Khan emerged as the right hand of the rule of Bihar and its master in all but name. So he like Bihar, Bengal and all were having their own rulers and all that time, but Sher Khan slowly emerged as one of the strongest person in those kingdoms. This was before the death of Babur. So Babur died in 1530. So before that these things were happening. The rise of Sher Khan to prominence was thus not sudden, so it took a long time to actually come into power. He gradually developed all his administration, military, everything. As a ruler, Sher Shah ruled the mightiest empire which had come into existence in North India since the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. So Muhammad bin Tughlaq was there in Tughlaq dynasty, in the Delhi Sultanate, after slave dynasty, Khilji dynasty and all, the Tughlaq dynasty will come. So that time he had a great empire, this Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Even though Muhammad bin Tughlaq is known for a lot of blunders and all which he did, but still he was one of the greatest rulers who had great empires. So his empire extended from Bengal to the Indus, so east to west, excluding Kashmir. So it's like up till Punjab region, you can tell, Amritsar region. In the west, he conquered Malwa and almost the entire Rajasthan. Malwa was then in a weak and distracted condition, and in no position to offer any resistance. But the situation in Rajasthan was different. Maldio, the ruler of Marwar, who had ascended the Gaddi in 1532, the throne, had rapidly brought the whole of western and northern Rajasthan under his control. He further expanded his territories during Humayun's conflict with Sher Shah. With the help of Bhatis of Jaisalmer, he conquered Ajmer. So now a new character, Maldio, you should know, who is the king or ruler of that time, in the Marwar region, that is the Rajasthan region. So it's not like popularly asked by UPSC and all, I have never heard such a term, but still, because Satish Chandra has mentioned it here, and UPSC, whenever they want to make the statement stuff, they will pick up these kind of stories and characters also. So there is someone in the timeline 1532, Humayun's time. So he is controlling lot of places in Rajasthan region, that you should know, and this Bhatis of Jaisalmer, who helped him. In his career of conquest, he came into conflict with the rulers of the area, including Mewar. His latest act had been the conquest of Bikaner. In the course of the conflict, the ruler was killed after a gallant resistance. His sons Kalyan Das and Bhim sought shelter at the court of Sher Shah. So this kind of he was acquiring place after place, Ajmer, Mewar, Bikaner, like that it was going on. Maldio. So one of the places, like in Bikaner, the sons of the king who was killed in that battle against Maldio, the sons go and took refuge under Sher Shah. That is how Sher Shah enters into this whole story. So many others, including his relation Biram Dio of Mehta, who he had dispossessed from his Jagir, also repaired to Sher Shah's court. So if you see, whoever is losing to Maldio in the western side in Rajasthan, they are all going and taking refuge under Sher Shah, because Sher Shah is one potential ruler who could dethrone that Maldio. Thus the situation facing Rana Sanga and Babur was repeated. Maldio's attempt to create a large centralized state in Rajasthan under his aegis was bound to be regarded as a threat by the ruler of Delhi and Agra. So Maldio was one of the biggest threat. Okay, last time in Humayun's story we were doing, we learnt about Bahadur Shah. So same way now in Sher Shah's time there is another person called Maldio who is a threat. Okay, it was believed that Maldio had an army of 50,000. However, there is no evidence that Maldio coveted Delhi or Agra. Okay, so it's like told in history books like he was having a huge army and all, and he wanted to dethrone people at Delhi, but there is no evidence that he actually won or he had any chance. Now, as before, the bone of contention between the two was the domination of the strategically important eastern Rajasthan. The Rajput and Afghan forces clashed at Sammel. Okay, so this is one battle which is also again not popular, but UPSC can pick up and put massive for it. Okay, Battle of Sammel 1544. If it is asked, you should know it is between Rajput and the Afghan forces. Okay, that is this Maldio and the Sher Shah group. Okay, so Battle of Sammel between Ajmer and Jodhpur. Then Sher Shah had adopted the greatest precautions while advancing into Rajasthan. At every stage, he would throw up entrenchments to guard against a surprise attack. It is clear that the Rajputs too had learned a lot about military tactics since Rana Sanga's disastrous battle with Babur. So Rana Sanga battle with Babur, that is Battle of Khanwa, I think. So that was a disastrous battle, and so Rajputs also were ready for any kind of battles or any kind of surprise attacks, all those things. So Sher Shah also was cautious. So both of them were tactically approaching this particular battle. Okay, Battle of Sammel. They refused to attack the strong fortified positions of Sher Shah. After waiting for about a month, okay, Maldio suddenly withdrew towards Jodhpur. According to contemporary writers, this was due to a clever strategy on the part of Sher Shah. He had dropped some letters addressed to Rajput commanders near Maldio's camp in order to sow doubt in his mind about their loyalty. So, lot of internal politics is also happening. Okay, like writing letters to admins or administrators, commanders and all. So the people are confused, like who is with them or who is against them. So that kind of political tactics was also going on between these two people. So the ruse worked. Maldio, seeing his mistake when it was too late. Okay, so it's like something was a confusion was created, and Maldio fell for it, but he realized it late. Okay, some Rajput Sardars refused to retreat. With a small force of about 10,000, they vigorously attacked Sher Shah's center and created confusion in his army. But Sher Shah kept cool. Soon, superior numbers and Afghan gunfire halted the Rajput charge. Surrounded, the Rajputs died fighting into last minute. So this is like line by line explanation of a war. Okay, we don't need such an explanation, but because it's there in the textbook, I'm just reading it to you. Okay, a lot of confusions were there. These people are fighting with each other. Okay, and it was proceeding, and people were fighting and dying also. The Battle of Sammel sealed the fate of Rajasthan. Sher Shah now besieged and conquered Ajmer and Jodhpur, forcing Maldio into the desert. So finally, this is the result you need to know. Battle of Sammel happened, and finally Sher Shah will emerge victorious. Okay, remaining this line by line, like he killed him or he pushed him from the horse, all these stupid things are not required. Okay, then he turned towards Mewar. The Rana was in no position to resist and sent the keys of Chittor to Sher Shah, who sent up his outpost up to Mount Abu. Okay, so again telling about the location and how it extended. Thus, in a brief period of 10 months, Sher Shah overran almost the entire Rajasthan. His last campaign was against Kalunjar, a strong fort that was the key to Bundelkhand. Okay, so Bundelkhand region, you know, because of the drought conditions and now river linking and all is happening. So around that region, this some fort is there, and that was the last campaign. During the siege, a gun burst and severely injured Sher Shah. So this is actually leading to his death also. Okay, he was wounded by a gun which burst. Okay, so kind of an accident, not even in the war, but this kind of accident. He died in 1545. So only 5 years he could rule. Okay, but after him, Islam Shah will come. After Sher Shah, Islam Shah will come, who ruled till 1553. Okay, and after that, 2 years, a lot of weak rulers will be there. Okay, and that is when Humayun will come back. So Islam Shah was a capable ruler and general, but most of his energies were occupied with the rebellions raised by his brothers and with tribal feuds among the Afghans. So again, if you see internal politics, his brothers were fighting. This is why Humayun also lost power, right? The same way, brothers were fighting, and also he had tribal problems with the Afghans. Okay, these and the ever-present fear of the renewed Mughal invasion prevented Islam Shah from attempting to expand his empire. His death at a young age led to a civil war among his successors. This provided Humayun the opportunity he had been seeking for recovering his empire in India. In two hotly contested battles in 1555, he defeated the Afghans and recovered Delhi and Agra. So this is the gist actually. Okay, overall what happened? Sher Shah was there. He died in a gunburst. Islam Shah came. He had a fight with his brothers and tribal people of Afghan, and he also died. And after that, his successors were weak, and that time Humayun will come back and recover Delhi. Okay, that's the full story. Now the Sur Empire may be considered in many ways as a continuation and culmination of the Delhi Sultanate. The advent of Babur and Humayun being in the nature of an interregnum. Okay, so it's like, it's not like a separate dynasty or something, because when you study Mughal dynasty, Surat dynasty is also being studied along with it, because the timeline is filled like that. Okay, it's not like Mughal was there and Sur was there parallelly. Mughal was dethroned, these people came, and then these people were dethroned and Mughals came back. So it's like a one single dynasty story. Okay. Now, amongst the foremost contribution of Sher Shah was his re-establishment of law and order across the length and breadth of his empire. Okay, he dealt sternly with robbers and dacoits and with zamindars who refused to pay land revenue or disobeyed the orders of the government. We are told by Abbas Khan Sarwani, okay, the historian of Sher Shah. So this is also again one statement UPSC can ask, like Abbas Khan, or match the following they can put. One side Abbas Khan Sarwani and the right side will be Sher Shah, okay, like historians and rulers. So the zamindars were so cowed that none of them dared to raise the banner of rebellion against him or to molest the travelers passing through their territory. So he is telling about the law and order situation. It was that much safe for people to travel, and nobody ever dared to go against the ruler, okay, Sher Shah, because he had that stringent punishments and all those things set up. So that is the whole thing is about that thing. This person Abbas Khan Sarwani is telling like the law and order was re-established and people could travel safely and no one will harass the travelers. Sher Shah paid great attention to the fostering of trade and commerce and the improvement of communication in his kingdom. Sher Shah restored the old imperial road called the Grand Trunk Road. Okay, that you should know. Grand Trunk Road. Okay, from the river Indus in the west to Sonargaon in Bengal. Okay, now you can tell like this Amritsar region to Kolkata region. Okay, that long like east to west. Okay. He also built a road from Agra to Jodhpur. Okay, that's in the western side. Okay, Delhi to Jodhpur, Rajasthan. And Chittor, evidently linking up with the road to the Gujarat seaport. So if you see, it's a pan-India network, pan-North India network, you can tell. Okay, from Kolkata kind of place, it's going till Amritsar, and from Agra it's going to Jodhpur and then Gujarat. So it's like a full triangle, like you can tell two sides of a triangle. Okay. Then he also built a, okay, that's done. He built a third road from Lahore to Multan. So if you see, it's again in the Pakistan region. So it's like a North India west to east, everywhere is under control of Sher Shah. Okay. Multan was at that time the staging point for caravans going to West and Central Asia. For the convenience of travelers, Sher Shah built a sarai. Okay, the sarai is also asked by UPSC at least twice. Okay, sarai at a distance of every 2 kilometers. Okay, about 8, some other unit. Okay, 2 KOs. Okay, about 8 kilometers on these roads. The sarai was a fortified lodging or inn where travelers could pass the night and also keep their goods in safe custody. So it's like a resting place for all the travelers, because that location was like that. The Multan location was like a joining point for places who or for people who traveled in the West and Central Asian regions. Okay, so the sarai is a concept under Sher Shah. Okay, separate lodgings for Hindus and Muslims were provided in these sarais. Brahmanas were appointed for providing bed and food to the Hindu travelers and grains for their horses. Abbas Khan says it was a rule in these sarais that whoever entered them received provisions suitable to his rank and food and litter for his cattle from government. So it's like a very good setup. Okay, it's like the food, the bedding, bed, lodging, everything, even for the animal, the horse and all, they will get the fodder. Everything is there. So that much well organized it was. Efforts were made to settle villages around the sarais, and land was set apart in these villages for the expenses of the sarais. Every sarai had several watchmen under the control of a Shahna. So okay, two terms you have to learn now. Sarai is that lodging facility, and watchman or guard kind of people who, or custodian of that is Shahna. Okay, and how will you get money to run this thing? The villages were set up around this region and their land will be there. So farming, everything will happen. So land revenue will come, and using that these things are maintained. So that is the whole setup of this thing. Okay, sarais and Shahna. Now we are told that Sher Shah built 1,700 sarais in all. Some of these are still existing. Okay. Which shows how strong they were. His roads and sarais have been called the arteries of the empire. Okay, so these kind of sentences you can use in your actual mains answer. Okay, you will definitely get 1 mark extra than any other people. Okay, that is why these lectures are important. Please make a note of all these things, else you will have to again watch this video again. Okay, so make a note. So his roads and sarais have been called the arteries of the empire. They helped in quickening trade and commerce in the country. Many of the sarais developed into market towns. Okay, kasbas. Okay, it's a market town. to which peasants flocked to sell their produce. The sarais were also used as stages for the news service or dak chowki. Okay, news services, dak chowki, and market town is kasbas. Okay, these are definite potential match the following questions. Okay, so please make a note. Don't think like you can again watch this video or again, because now it's what's that month now? It's only July. Okay, next June you have to write the prelims. So if you don't have written notes, you have to again watch this whole thing to catch these kind of phrases. So always take a notebook or wherever you write notes, and under heading Sher Shah, make a column like prelims, make a column like mains. So in mains column you can write these kind of things, the arteries of empire. In the prelims column you can write this market town kasbas, then sarais or shahanas, then what is it, dak chowki, because these are the terms which you have to just revise just before the exam date. Okay, you don't have to read this full chapter again. Now, the organization of these dak chowks have been described in an earlier chapter. Okay, so I think in the previous chapter we have mentioned it. So by means of this, Sher Shah kept himself informed of the developments in his vast empire. Sher Shah also introduced other reforms to promote the growth of trade and commerce. In his entire empire, paid customs duty only at two places. Goods produced in Bengal or imported from outside paid customs duty at the border of Bengal and Bihar. So it's like we don't have to go into depth, but this custom duty or payment duty, these things were there in the regions of Bengal and Bihar. Okay, and goods coming from West and Central Asia paid custom duties at the Indus. So eastern side it's there, and western side also is there. Internally, local at all or customs such nothing is there. Okay, entry tax or nothing is there. In the eastern side it is there, in the western side it is there. So just like a pan-India thing, and you can tell like Sher Shah is one of the ruler who actually had the idea of a holistic India. Okay, till then India was under like different small kingdoms. Okay, one united India, you can tell first time it was under Sher Shah. Later Akbar and all will come, but still he is one of the first ruler. So no one was allowed to levy customs at roads, ferries or towns anywhere else. The duty was paid a second time at the time of sale. Sher Shah directed his governors and amils. Okay, amils is actually kind of administrators. You will see the definition somewhere else in this same chapter. So governors and amils to compel the people to treat merchants and travelers well in every way and not to harm them at all. If a merchant died, they were not to seize his goods as if they were unowned. Sher Shah enjoined upon them the dictum of Sheikh Nizami. So, okay, something is there which is like considered when a merchant dies or something. If a merchant should die in your country, it is the perfidy to lay hands on his property. Meaning, this perfidy means it is like it is what to say, not correct. Okay, it is something wrong or betrayal to the merchant or something. So it is not right, like if a merchant dies, okay, in your country, to simply go and seize all his properties. Okay, it should belong to his next generation or his family or whatever. It should not be like considered unknown. It's mentioned here, unknown, and should not be taken by the kingdom. Okay, so that is the kind of dictum which they followed. Okay, by some Sheikh Nizami. We don't know who he is, but that is what is mentioned. Okay, so Sher Shah made the local village headman, some mukpadams and zamindars responsible for any, or I think it's QL, mukaddams or something. Okay, I have seen this somewhere. So one term for village headman. Okay, mukaddams, and zamindar responsible for any loss that the merchant suffered on the roads. If the goods were stolen, the mukaddam. So here you see it's like mentioned mukaddams. Okay, Q, and here it's mentioned P. Maybe one is typo. Okay, so that term you should know, it is about village headman. Okay, and the zamindars had to produce them or to point out the haunts of the thieves or highway robbers, failing which they had to undergo the punishment meant for the thieves and robbers. So it's like these people, right, the village headman and the zamindars, they were in charge of pointing out the robbery cases around to the kingdom. And in case they fail to note it down or they fail to report it, then those people, this mukaddams and zamindars, they will face the punishment which was actually meant for the robbers. Okay, so that much strict it was, the law and order. Okay, the same law was applied in case of murders on the road. It was a barbarous law to make the innocent responsible for the wicked, but it seems to have been effective. Okay, so it's like these zamindars and these people are not responsible for any robbery, but if they fail to inform, they will be punished. So it was, even though it is very strict and all, it worked. Okay, it was effective. That's what they are telling. So in the picturesque language of Abbas Sarwani, again that person. Okay, a deceived old woman might place a basket full of gold ornaments on her head and go on a journey, and no thief or robber would come near her. So it's like even an old lady, okay, even an old lady or a disabled person, anybody takes these many gold ornaments and walk on the road in the middle of the night also, then also no robber will dare to attack him, because that much strict was the punishment of Sher Shah. Okay, this can be over exaggerated and all, but this is how this person Abbas Sarwani is explaining about the law and order condition in his kingdom. Okay, so you got many points actually like about the reforms of Sher Shah already, and there are much more to come. Okay, now the currency reforms. The currency reforms of Sher Shah also helped in the growth of commerce and handicrafts. he struck fine coins of gold, silver and copper, okay, of uniform standard in place of the debased coins of mixed metal. Okay, so earlier before him it was like mixed metal coins, but now he made a strategic proper technical thing like gold, silver and copper. Okay, so it will have different denomination, different values, and it was used for different transactions also. So it was all organized under Sher Shah Suri. Now his silver rupee was so well executed that it remained a standard coin for centuries after him. Okay, even now the silver, the rupee coin or rupiah coin, that was actually started by Sher Shah. His attempt to fix standard weights and measures all over the empire was also helpful for trade and commerce. So he had the standard weights and measures also. Okay, these are important because in the Alauddin Khilji time also you would have learned same thing. So UPSC can confuse you with this two things. Okay, actually Alauddin Khilji's things were copied by Sher Shah, and Sher Shah's things will be later copied by Akbar. Okay, that is how it went. Now, Sher Shah did not make any changes in the administrative divisions prevailing since the Sultanate period. Okay, so administrative is governor, paragna, everything was same. So here it is. A number of villages comprised a paragna. Okay, number of villages, group of villages called a paragna. The paragna was under the charge of Shikdar. Okay, so again 2-3 terms. This is what you need to make a note in the prelim section of your notes. Okay, paragna and Shikdar, who looked after law and order and general administration, and the munsif or amil, who looked after the collection of land revenue. Okay, so here also we saw governors and amils. The same thing here, they are explaining what is amil. He is actually munsif or amil, who is responsible for the collection of land revenue. Okay, accounts were maintained both in the Persian and the local languages Hindavi. Okay, so Hindavi is the local language there. Okay, like Hindi before Hindi. So above the paragna was the Shik or Sarkar under the charge of the Shikdar Ishik and Munsifan. Okay, just the general name you try to remember, the Shikdar and Munsif. Okay, these people are allowed to look into the land revenue concept of this paragna. Okay, paragna is group of villages. Now it seems that only the designations of the officers were new, since both the paragna and sarkar were units of administration in the earlier period. So before Sher Shah also this paragna and sarkar was already there, but this kind of terminology, the Shikdar, Ishik and Munsifan, is actually brought by Sher Shah. That is what they are telling. The whole concept is same, but he organized it properly. Okay. Now a number of sarkars were grouped into provinces, but we do not know much about the pattern of provincial administration in Sher Shah's time. It seems that the provincial governors were all powerful in some areas. In some areas such as Bengal, real power remained in the hands of tribal chiefs, and the governor exercised only a loose control over them. Sher Shah apparently continued the central machinery of administration which had been developed during the Sultanate period. However, we do not have much information about it. Sher Shah did not favor leaving too much authority to the hands of ministers. Okay, so he was like in charge of everything. He was top of everything. Okay, he did not give it like too much devolution of power and all. He worked exceedingly hard, devoting himself to the affairs of the state from early morning to late at night. Okay, so you should see like he is like 67 years old and he is like working throughout the day. Okay, for this development of his regions. He also toured the country constantly to know the condition of the people, but no single individual, however hardworking, could look after all the affairs of a vast country like India. Sher Shah's excessive centralization of authority in his hands was a source of weakness. So even though it is said about a good thing, he actually, because this region is too much, he cannot go personally and visit every place, right? So it is telling like it turned out to be a weakness. His strength actually changed into a weakness, and it will lead to his loss also, like finally how it ends everything. So, and its harmful effects became apparent when a masterful sovereign like him ceased to sit on the throne. Okay, so he is like roaming around the full city, and then that is how the others also started thinking like, okay, now we can also interfere and then get the power. Sher Shah paid special attention to the land revenue system, the army and justice. Having administered his father's Jagir for a number of years, and then as a virtual ruler of Bihar, Sher Shah know the working of a land revenue system at all level. So this is one very important thing, because Akbar will ditto copy paste this thing in his administrative thing. Okay, this land revenue thing, then I think Biga system, lot of things are there where land is measured, the price of last 10 years is taken. So many things are there which Akbar directly copies from Sher Shah. And why Sher Shah was good at it? Because he was actually from that Jaunpur, one person whose father was taking care of these kind of land policies. Okay, so that is why he had this skills, and this is later adopted by Akbar. Okay, so with the help of a capable team of administrators, he toned up the entire system. The produce of the land was now no longer to be based on guesswork or by dividing the crops in the field or on the threshing floor. So it was like earlier it was all random, there was no procedure at all, but Sher Shah insisted on measurement of the sown land. Schedule of rates called Ray or Rai or whatever, this RAY. Okay, this is what the schedule of rates it is. Okay, he started that, laying down the, later Akbar will adopt it. Okay, so laying down the state share of the different types of crops. This could then be converted to cash on the basis of prevailing market rate in different areas. The share of the state was 1/3. Okay, this is also important, 1/3. They will simply change it to 1/6 and then make a statement wrong. Okay, so Sher Shah's cropping system, this Rai scheduled rates and this thing, 1/3 to the kingdom. The lands were divided into good, bad and middling or something. Okay, middling. average produce was computed and 1/3 of it became the share of the state. The peasants were given the option of paying in cash or kind, though the state preferred cash. Okay, this is also one thing UPSC has asked in the past also, like whether they took only in cash or they took it only in gold or only in land revenue. So you should know, like both were there, but state preferred in cash itself. Okay, so thus after sowing the crops, the peasant knew how much he had to pay to the state. So it was all organized now. They know how much they have to produce, how much they will get it for themselves, how much they have to give as tax. Everything was well organized. Okay. The area sown, the type of crop cultivated, and the amount each peasant had to pay was written down on the paper called patta. Okay, so patta is that paper where everything will be written. Okay, and each peasant was informed of it. No one was allowed to charge from the peasants anything extra. Even the rates which the members of the measuring party were to get for their work were laid down. So everything, okay, all kind of rates, how much will be given to the person who is measuring the land, who is making this patta. Everybody has correct distribution of this revenue. Okay. Now, in order to guard against the famine and other natural calamities, a cess at the rate of 2.5 seers per biga. Okay, it's just unit of that time. You just need to know around this thing. Okay, 2.5 seers per biga was charged. Okay, as kind of cess. Okay. Sher Shah was very solicitous for the welfare of the peasantry. He used to say the cultivators are blameless. They submit to those in power, and if I oppress them, they will abandon their villages, and the country will be ruined and deserted, and it will be a long time before it again became prosperous. So he actually understood, like peasants and farmers are the most important part of the kingdom. Okay. He knew, like we cannot do anything unfair to them, because if they leave the village, then this whole farming, food, agriculture, everything will be stopped, and the whole kingdom will be ruined. Okay, so it will take a long time to bring it back into prosperity. So he understood peasant problems, and he used to act according to it. Since there was plenty of land available for cultivation in those days, the desertion of villages by the peasants in case of oppression was a real threat, and helped in putting a limitation on exploitation on the peasants by the rulers. So this is the entire, like it's taking good things only. Okay. And the cultivation was plenty, everything is there, and so if these people leave, it will be a bad thing. So Sher Shah took care of it. Same thing, they are rotating again and again, telling the same thing. Okay, Sher Shah set up a strong army in order to administer his vast empire. He dispensed with tribal levies under tribal chiefs and recruited soldiers directly after verifying their character. Every soldier had his descriptive role, chehra, okay, chehra recorded, and his horse branded with the imperial sign, so that the horse of inferior quality may not be substituted. Sher Shah seems to have borrowed this system known as the Dag branding system from the military reforms of Alauddin Khilji. Okay, so as I told, Alauddin Khilji's system copied by Sher Shah, and later Sher Shah's system will be copied by Akbar. Okay, so chehra and Dag you should know, soldier and horse. Okay, the strength of Sher Shah's personal army is about 1,50,000, not important, but he had a huge army, okay, with elephants and all. So he set up cantonments in different parts of the empire, and a strong garrison was posted in each of them. Sher Shah placed considerable emphasis on justice. He used to say, justice is the most excellent of religious rights, and it is approved alike by the king of infidels and of the faithful. So, okay, infidels means this people who don't believe in God and all, okay, who is not having any faith. So infidels and faithful, anyone, okay, if they don't administer justice properly, then it is not good for a kingdom. Okay, so justice is the most important thing. That's what he's telling. So he did not spare oppressors, whether oppressors, whether they were high nobles, men of his own tribe, or near relations. So anyone, okay, even in the kingdom, his ministers, anybody do wrong, he will be taking action. Qazis were appointed at different places for justice. Qazis is like judges. Okay, Qazis are appointed for justice. As before, the village panchayats and zamindars also dealt with civil and criminal cases at the local level. A big step forward in the dispensation of justice was, however, taken by Sher Shah's son, okay, and successor Islam Shah. Okay, Islam Shah codified the laws, thus doing away with the necessity of depending on a special set of people who could interpret the Islamic law. Islam Shah also tried to curb the powers and privileges of the nobles and to pay cash salaries to the soldiers, but most of the regulation disappeared with his death. So Islam Shah, after Sher Shah, tried changing some things. Okay, so he is like cash is now mandatory, cash salaries are not given to soldiers, then Islamic law is being stressed. Okay, so these kind of things are there. It's not like a proper secular thing or something. And there is no doubt that Sher Shah was a remarkable figure. He established a sound system of administration in his brave frame of 5 years. He was a great builder also. Okay, the tomb which he built for himself at Sasaram during his lifetime is regarded as one of the masterpieces of architecture. So this tomb at Sasaram, this is what UPSC will ask. Okay, after this full chapter you read, so simply they will ask like whose tomb is at Sasaram at this place. Okay, Delhi or wherever it is. So Sasaram is the tomb built by himself for Sher Shah. Okay, it is considered as the culmination of the earlier style of architecture and starting point for a new style which developed later. Okay, Sher Shah also built a new city on the bank of Yamuna near Delhi. The sole survivor of this is the old fort Purana Killa. Okay, so Deenpana was related to Humayun and Purana Killa is related to Sher Shah. Okay, Sher Shah also patronized the learned men. Okay, this Padmavat, you know, Padmavat was in news last year. Padmavat, Malik, Muhammad Jaisi and all. It was written that time, 1540s. Okay, that's the time when this book was actually written, even though it is about Alauddin Khilji and all. It is written that time, and that's why full controversy was there. So Sher Shah was not a bigot in his religious sphere. 1 second. So Sher Shah was not a bigot in this religious sphere, as it is evident from his social and economic policy. Okay, so he is not like a person who will be talking only for Muslims or any religious sentiments, nothing like that is there. Okay, he was like doing for development of the territory. Neither Islam Shah nor he depended on the ulama, like a Muslim prophet or Muslim teacher kind of thing. Okay, though they respected them a great deal. So they had great respect for their religious values and all those things, but they were not like too much pro-Muslims or something like that. Okay. Not properly secular also, but not properly too much religious also. Religious slogans were sometimes used to justify political actions. The treacherous murder of Puran Mal and his associates after he had vacated the fort of Raisin in Malwa on the basis of a binding oath is one such example. So this is actually one Hindu person who was killed. Okay, actually, so this is one example they are telling, like it was there in their internal this thing. It was there, like this Hindu-Muslim thing was there. The theologians ruled that no faith need to be kept with an infidel, and that Puran Mal had oppressed Muslim men and women. So this Hindu person, he had this thing. Okay, there was allegations like he oppressed Muslim men and women. So he was treacherously killed. Okay, so there was this Hindu-Muslim issues also going on, but nowhere it is mentioned like Sher Shah is pro-Muslims or anything like that. Okay, so Sher Shah did not, however, initiate any new liberal policies also. Okay, so he's like did not do like anything like Akbar did later. Okay, he did not start any secular policy, but so it's like a general thing. So we cannot tell any extreme version of him. Jizya is actually a tax which is collected from the Hindus. Okay, the non-Muslims. So that continued. Okay, while his nobility was drawn almost exclusively from the Afghans. Thus, the state under the Surs remained an Afghan institution based on race and tribe. So it's like not like a Muslim kingdom or something. It's like an Afghan kingdom, you can tell. Okay, their race, their tribe, their things were given priority when recruitment happened to the army and all. Okay, the fundamental change came about only with the emergence of Akbar. Okay, so Akbar will be actually the next chapter also. Okay, he is the one who will be starting all new secular policies. So here these 4 questions, if you see, even though it is this small NCERT kind of question, this is what exactly comes in your UPSC exam also. Okay, so if you can write these 4 things, then you can write any UPSC answer also. So just read the questions. Describe the political developments that took place in Central Asia in the period between death of Timur and the conquest of Kabul by Babur. So this is like the emergence of Babur. Okay, so and this significance of Battle of Panipat. These 2 things were there in our first video. Okay, so this whole story, if you have understood, then you can easily write this answer. Okay, watch my first video, you can answer this. Then the second video, if you watch, you can answer this one. Describe the conflict between Humayun and Sher Shah and explain the reason for Humayun's failure. We saw a lot of reasons. Internal conflict was there, his brother did not help, then Bahadur Shah problem was there, many things. Okay, his bad decisions, and also Humayun Sher Shah, the Battle of Chausa and Battle of Kanauj, which happened in 1539 and 1540. That story is what is asked here. Okay, this political thing is usually asked in history optional. Okay, it is not asked in your GS1. GS1 will ask only the cultural aspect, like the coinage of Sher Shah or any architecture thing of Humayun. So those things will be asked in your GS papers. Now describe the administrative reforms of Sher Shah. What steps did he adopt to promote the growth of trade and commerce? This actually answer is there in this particular video which you are listening. Okay, which you listen till now. Okay, whatever he did, lot of that law and order, justice system, for travelers he did something, for peasants he did something. He did a lot of things, right? And a lot of terminologies also you learned. So that is what you need to answer for this. So it's an easy like 10-15 marker question which UPSC can directly ask. Okay, so try to answer these questions for your practice. Or anyway, if you enrolled our mains test series and all, you will be writing lots and lots of answers about this. Okay, so I think I've covered everything about this chapter. We'll see 2 MCQs as usual. Okay, so Sher Shah, 1 second. Okay, 2 questions. One is this Travener's accounts. Okay, this kind of persons were asked in 2018 prelims also. Traveler. Okay, Travener's accounts contains information about the reign of whom? Okay, Akbar and Humayun, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. Okay, this is like 1, 2 or both 1 and 2. Okay, so try to find this out. Okay, it's like a combination I made by reading from different places. So try to answer this. If you answer in comment section, we will give you the right answer also. So now next one, Sher Shah. So 5 statements are given. You have to tell whether all the 5 are true or any mistake is there. Okay. So he defeated Humayun in 1540 and displaced Mughal rule in Delhi. One statement. Then he constructed a lot of grand highways in North India and followed Dag. Okay, branding of horses. He issued coins, Dam copper, Rupaya silver, and Nishka gold. His court historian was Abbas Khan Sarwani. Okay. he had an efficient administration system, later even followed by Akbar. So some statements directly you will be feeling like, yeah, it's true, but sometimes everybody will feel like all 5 are true. So that is where UPSC will trick you, and you should know that one word or one thing which is twisted in this particular thing. So try to find out that mistake if it is there, and then tell me in comment section these 2 answers. Okay, only if you interact then you will get the answers. Okay, else like I am not going to give you free answers, because already lectures are all free. Okay, so please try to answer them in comment section. So I'll come up with the next video soon. Till then, thank you and have a nice day.